associate. Then I went back to college and I got my bachelor's degree, and I'm working on my master's. I would say that it enhances what you do. Would it make you better? I think it's based on your passion for it. I think your passion increased in terms of being able to help them a bit better if they wanted to go on to school or go on to get more information about themselves. So I always say that school is better. So yes, I would say that it is wonderful. I encourage my caseworkers, because I supervise 5 community health workers, and at each supervision, I do encourage them how they're doing with school, because I think it's a plus. We have to, and also it's the next generation coming, so we have to make way for them.
I think a community health worker is not based on how much education, because you can have a master's degree or you can have no education, and that doesn't mean anything. You can have a master's degree and that doesn't mean that you're going to be a good community health worker. Because if you have the education but you don't have the passion and you don't have the willingness to do the work, it doesn't matter. Your education is just there, another title, another piece of paper that is hanging right there. But on the other hand, it's always good to have education. So I really don't know what to answer, because I think a person with a PhD could be a good community health worker if they really have the passion and they want to help. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to have it, or not have it at all. I don't know if that answers the question.
My peers who are the best outreach workers or community health workers, in my opinion, do not have college education, but it's like what you mentioned, there is a passion there. I think the college education thing does offer some mobility, because that was a question in terms of how can you move on from being a community health worker. But that said, my peers, the ones whom I think are the best community health workers, they may refuse to come onto a panel like this. And I think that has something to do with their feeling like, well, if I may not be as articulate, and I may not have the same sort of educational training to say what is the correct thing to say here in the span of 45 minutes. So,
Program, how they had envisioned the community health program, worker program, was a growing program that someone came in as a community health worker, as a paraprofessional, and it could either be the track of being in the nursing track, or social work, or health education. And as they got trained and they did whatever the discipline that they liked, they moved on up, because it wasn't something that we saw them doing at that level forever. To make room for somebody else to build capacity in that community, because they're going to be in the community, and they're building capacity. If they come in as that para, then go on for an associate degree in nursing, health education, social work, move on up to your BS, move on up to your master's, and you're moving right on. That was the model that they always talked about as I came into the program. So with education, you're moving up and you're training your community, and you have other people that you're bringing up behind.
From our perspective, we're not looking to actually replace health educators or replace NAs. We think that this is a new field of community health workers. We're here to hire community health workers. And and I understand that, I think that the community health workers should have the ability to move on and to pursue other career choices if they wish. But we want to make it, competitive for them to be able to stay as community health workers if they choose to. So we've looked to, increase their salaries to a point where they can continue to be community health workers for a long time. And the community health workers that we have working for us have been with us for several years. How long have you been with us? 5 years. So, I think the role of the community health worker is separate it's unique, and it doesn't merge into anything else. So that's the way I see it.
From my perspective, in hiring, that would not be an issue because the process is I have a budget amount and I'm going to hire the best qualified person I can for that dollar amount. And so you really see what the economy is and what the job market is when you have MPHs, PhDs applying for a position that pays $40,000. So basically, you know, the more training and experience you have, the better it is for you. So, you know, if we're adding a program that is a certificate program that somebody might be able to do, and a bachelor's degree program they would not, I don't see them as conflicting, or they, like, I would never hire the CHW because I can save some money and not the person that would do the best job.
We, community workers, we are not there to replace our doctors. We are not there to replace the nurses. We are not there to replace social workers. We are there to help them. I work with providers. I have 2 sections every week and 2 clinics. 21 out of them. I'm sorry, 21 out of them. I wasn't the one in Washington Heights, but I was removed I started working in 21 out of them. And my job there is to help the doctors, the providers. They only have 15 minutes with every patient. I may have half an hour, 45 minutes after they see the patient. I can spend more time with them, giving them asthma 101. Listen to them, their problems, what they're going through. The providers cannot do it. So the idea is not to replace anything. I tell the nurses, you don't have to be scared of me because I don't want to be a nurse. Okay? I don't like children's vomiting on top of me, like half down the day, and the needle and things like that. That's not for me. I'm there for help. I can give you the bounty to help you clean the vomit, I'm not going to do a surgery. I can't.
I was just going to add, I think also to the more reality of the position that they can be exposed to before they actually apply for the position is probably going to be better for me as an employer. I think the outreach, we can say that, but it's different when you know that you have to do it in January when it's 2 degrees, and you know you have to do it in September, in August when it's 95, hot, humid. That's a reality of the position. I think the other part of it is also to make sure that the interview process, I always encourage our directors, like, be realistic during that interview so that the person actually gets a clear picture of what's expected. Like, I would much rather have a happy, motivated, uplifting person who wants to do the job than to have someone with a degree who's thinking, I don't want to go into this person's house because the last time I was there it was dirty. So it really, I think the more real life experience that you can expose them to in their education makes it so much easier for the employer and for the employee. It has to be a good match. If it's not a good match, like I know for myself, I have a master's in social work. I love working with people, but outreach just is not my thing. I would rather call a colleague on the phone and explain the program, do a meeting. That's what I can do. I do not do very well standing out in the street with the flyer approaching people that I've never seen before. So I think that people have to know that sometimes that's exactly what you're expected to do. It's very easy to say, but when you're put in that role, it's not easy. I think I gave away 3 flyers the first time I attempted, and I took out 100. So I think the more reality that you have with the position,
it's a great conference. I've really learned a lot. I just want to say, obviously going around on these issues, I would hate to see anything that restricted someone from getting a job community health worker, you want to get the best person to work in the community, and that's the way it is now. You can hire anybody. But, you know, and that's why someone asked the question, if you had the opportunity to get some more college if you wanted to, as an opportunity. So I'm really focusing not so much on a new person coming in, it's the people who are the incumbent workers, people who already are community health workers. How can they go forward if they choose to? There should be no penalty if you don't want to go forward, but if you choose to go forward, you want to get a credited certificate. And not necessarily start with a whole degree, take a 4-credit certificate, and go forward. So a lot of these issues between, well, one, you know, the new worker versus an incumbent worker. I think we should really focus on the incumbent worker and trying to help support them in any way possible. They should be sent to professional conferences and go here and there, and if they want to go to college, they should be able to go to college with support. If they don't, that's fine as well. So the other thing is sometimes with this undercurrent, we talk about credit and non-credit. I don't think, you know, you lose your soul if you take some college credits. I don't think you lose your connection to your community. I don't think you lose your language skills. I don't think you lose anything. I think you can enhance. I think the word enhance was an excellent choice there. So, and I know this because, you know, we graduate 1,000 nurses every year, and you know, from our associate degree programs, they're amazing people who have worked. 60% were not born in the country. I mean, it's just amazing, you know, what we see coming through CUNY in many fields. So that's not unusual. So I think that there's a role for accredited career pathway for people who want to choose that. That's what we'd like to create in CUNY, but also want to make sure you don't take away from anything for the community health workers that are already there or new ones coming in who know their community and can do their job so well. And so just want to make that comment about you talking, relating to what Karen was saying about certificates and so on. I don't think that the economy kind of thing is necessary. You know, I think that there are roles for all of these values.